It is tea, and that's how we pluck tea. 2 leaves, 1, 2, and a bud.
This is 29-year-old Jasper Machogu. He's a farmer and he lives in Kisii, southwest Kenya.
Once you get used to it, you don't have to count 1, 2 bud. It's so easy.
On social media, he posts videos like these ones, offering a window into his day-to-day life.
So this is what people do throughout the day.
You can see Jasper weeding, cutting corn, picking avocados.
Yeah, that is it. It's a typical day in Kisii.
But make no mistake, Jasper is not your average farmer. His farming videos may get clicks, likes and retweets, but it's the fringe views he shares online that have supercharged his profile.
We have people cooking with firewood, and you telling us that we should care about climate change. What is climate change anyway?
A hoax, a scam, at least according to Jasper's tweets. He wrongly claims that climate change is not man-made, or real for that matter, but rather a ploy by the West to keep Africa poor.
Our fossil fuel infrastructure, which is being derailed by the anti-humanist, neo-colonial UN, IMF and World Bank.
Jasper's got more than 25,000 followers on X, formerly Twitter, and he has caught the eye of many in the West who, like him, deny man-made climate change. Canadian author Jordan Peterson tweeted a talk Jasper gave at a cryptocurrency conference. Jasper even pops up in a new British documentary that denies the existence of a climate emergency. But could there be more to his activism than meets the eye?
I really hope that it's just not being used by climate deniers to penetrate to the African youth, because that is really, really dangerous.
This is BBC Trending, where we take an in-depth look into the world of social media. I'm Marco Silva, and for this episode I've been investigating how a farmer in a small Kenyan village became an online champion of climate change denial in Africa. To really understand Jasper Machogu's journey, to answer the many questions it raises, I had to speak to the man himself. Now, the first thing you need to know about Jasper is that he is passionate about farming. Almost as passionate as he is about Kisii, where he lives with his family.
It's rural, so you expect to see smoke from people's homes, people going to the river with their plastic buckets to fetch water, looking after their cattle along the roads. I love that every other person in my community knows how to produce their own food. We grow beans, we grow finger millet, we grow bananas, we grow avocados, sweet potatoes, lots of crops. Because I grew up in a background where every other person is doing farming, I really wanted to be a farmer.
So, in 2013, Jasper went to university to study agricultural engineering. And he says that it was there that he first started thinking about the environment.
I was so surprised to see plastics everywhere, polythene everywhere, and I felt that I should do something about it.
And this, according to Jasper, led him to join 2 environmentalist groups, Greenpeace and Let's Do It Kenya.
I will participate in cleanup activities, collecting litter around the school and the nearby town. And yeah, that's how I came to learn more about climate change, but that wasn't enough.
The groups Jasper claims to have been part of told me they have no record of him, but he blames this on poor record keeping on their part. He also says that it was after one of their cleanups back in 2021 that his views on global warming would change for good.
After that event, I felt I didn't do enough. So when I went back to my place, I sat down and I wanted to learn about Greenpeace. Like, I wanted to be the change. I was so surprised to learn of a guy called Patrick Moore, and that was just it.
Patrick Moore was a Greenpeace activist in the 1970s, but he'd later leave the group to become a nuclear energy advocate. He denies climate change is man-made and has also been linked to groups known for promoting climate change denial. He did not respond to my requests for comment, but he, Jasper says, made him question everything he believed in.
All I knew about plastics, all I knew about climate change was wrong, apparently. So I started doing my own research. And that's how I came to be a climate skeptic.
Since then, Jasper has used the hashtag #ClimateScam hundreds of times, often in tweets repeating widely debunked falsehoods about climate change.
There is no climate crisis.
Initially, when you reached out, I had not gone through his posts, but just going through that, I was like, oh my God, that's not okay at all.
That is Dr. Joyce Kimutai, a climate scientist from Kenya. I got in touch with her to find out what she made of Jasper's claims on social media.
Saying that climate is a hoax is just really not true. It's been many years of scientists working, and there's a strong consensus on climate change. Human activities, and especially burning of fossil fuels, has actually increased global surface temperatures.
When fossil fuels burn, they release greenhouse gases, mostly carbon dioxide. They trap heat in the atmosphere and cause the planet to heat up.
We're talking about science. This is not religion. This is not just belief. It's about analyzing the data and seeing changes in the data.
On social media, Jasper Machogu has described those who accept the data and science of climate change as zealots, cultists, or alarmists. Words he also directs at the campaigners he comes across online.
When I saw him replying, I really didn't take it serious.
That's Nicholas Omnuk from Uganda. He's one of the climate activists Jasper has confronted on social media.
He should actually not criticize climate activists. Instead, he should learn from them. There are so many people out there who are actually suffering from the impacts of the climate crisis. And these are the things that he has to actually consider.
On X, Jasper has also become known for a campaign he's started. He calls it Fossil Fuels for Africa.
Fossil Fuels for Africa is me telling the world that Africa needs its fossil fuels, not just for energy, for other things as well.
Things like fertilizer, plastics, or cement, all of which are currently produced using fossil fuels. And Jasper argues, if Africa has got plenty of coal, gas, and oil left to use, why shouldn't it use them? And if the West used fossil fuels to grow, why shouldn't Africa do the same? Here's a clip from a video he posted on X last year ahead of a major climate summit, urging African leaders not to join in.
Stand firm. Don't even attend the COP28 meeting. We are going to say no to neocolonialism in the name of climate change. We should be all about human flourishing, Africans developing. And that's my message.
Jasper's video was viewed more than 275,000 times. So, does he have a point?
I am one of the negotiators for Kenya, and I understand the issues that are being discussed.
You see, as an expert in climate science, Dr. Joyce Kimutai also attends high-level climate talks to negotiate on behalf of Kenya.
I agree that the West have industrialized on fossil fuels. This is what they've used. They're where they are actually because of fossil fuels. That's a fact.
But
when as negotiators we sit and talk, we always iron out all these issues. We talk about some developing countries requiring to exploit some of their resources because they're actually developing. So it's not about West lecturing us about not using fossil fuels to industrialize. No, that is not the debate we have.
as I'm recording this episode, Jasper has just over 25,000 followers on X.
I've seen my African Twitter following grow, which is a good thing.
And he says that's partly down to his Fossil Fuels for Africa campaign.
I think Africans are really embracing the fact that I'm saying fossil fuels for Africa. They like that.
Thing is, I tracked conversations on X involving Jasper's handle, and I found out that the overwhelming majority of users engaging with Jasper online aren't actually in Africa, but rather in the US, the UK, and Canada. Many of these users also promote conspiracy theories online, not just about climate change, but also about vaccines, COVID-19, or the war in Ukraine. I asked Jasper just how comfortable he was with that fact.
Nowadays, what I have noticed is people who don't agree with what mainstream media says are referred to as conspiracy theorists. I like to think of them as skeptics.
Niche as its views may be, this online community seems keen to fund Jasper's campaigning.
Through saying whatever I say, I have seen my follower count going up, and I've got people reaching out to me saying, "Oh, Jasper, how can I help you?"
With the help of donations from his followers, Jasper furnished his new home. But not just that, he says he's also helped dozens of families by building a borehole for water, by handing out gas bottles for cooking, by connecting homes to the electricity grid. And the money to pay for a lot of that appears to have started coming in after donors noticed Jasper was denying man-made climate change on his socials. Let me ask you this very openly. How much money would you say you've made as a result of questioning the mainstream understanding of climate science online?
From donations, I'd say about 3,000 USD from people helping me out. But from people wanting to better my community, I don't have a number for that.
I've seen evidence suggesting that in the last 2 years, Jasper's made more than 9,000 US dollars. Maybe it doesn't sound like that much to you, but if you're a laborer or a cleaner on the minimum wage in some parts of Kenya, at the end of the month you might not take home more than 65 US dollars. Do you know where this money is coming from? Who are the people giving you money?
Some of those people, most of those people are from my Twitter. Others maybe from interviews that I've done, but mostly from Twitter.
I looked at fundraising pages set up by Jasper, and there I found donors who worked in the oil and gas sector themselves, were paid by fossil fuel companies for consulting work, and a couple were part of think tanks known for promoting climate change denial. Does that worry you that perhaps, by taking their money in this way, they might see you as a tool that they are using, or is it something that doesn't worry you at all?
Nobody has told me to change my views. Nobody has told me say this and that. I'm not getting paid by like a company in particular or somebody. So it's just somebody giving me their money willingly because of what I say or what I do. I'm saying what I'm saying, and if somebody decides to pay me for doing that, I don't mind at all.
Remember what I said about Jasper having a devoted audience in the US, UK, and Canada? Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, most of the people sending him money are also based there. But what exactly do they see in him? Amy Westervelt is an investigative climate reporter from the US.
The last couple of years, there's been a real explosion in fossil fuel development projects in Africa. And because a lot of countries are passing policies that are limiting fossil fuels, Africa is also seen as a big market.
In my social media feeds, I've seen Western climate deniers making that case, suggesting more fossil fuel exploration is just what Africa needs. But Amy says that for that point to really sink in, it needs to come from within.
The reason that this group is championing particularly voices from Africa right now is that they need to make this case for fossil fuels being a good thing for Africa. And the more they can have that message coming from people who are themselves African, the more effective that message becomes.
Amy doesn't doubt Jasper's views on climate change are genuinely held, even if they are not backed by evidence. But holding those beliefs has certainly propelled Jasper to new heights. Last year, a fossil fuel advocate from the US paid for him to travel to South Africa just so that he could attend an international conference promoting African oil and gas. Before that, a film crew from Britain travelled to Kissy to interview him for a brand new documentary, one supposedly exposing what the filmmakers dubbed the climate scare. And in February, Jasper co-authored an opinion piece published on the Fox News website. All this attention, Amy says, can be addictive.
All of a sudden, you're getting recognition and praise from people on the other side of the world who have like best-selling books and podcasts and things like that. And I think that tends to further encourage people to stay on that same path. And, you know, maybe you start making some money out of that as well. Then it's very hard to break out of it.
Or maybe he just believes it. What does the future look like for Jasper Machogu? Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years' time?
I see myself as the biggest fossil fuel advocate in Africa.
Jasper's social media following may be growing, but is not yet reaching the millions he aims to reach. So you might wonder, just how much harm can he actually do with a few tweets? I put that question to Dr. Joyce Kimutai, the Kenyan climate scientist.
Because we still have low climate literacy levels in Africa and in Kenya. And if that conspiracy theory spreads to communities or to people, it could just really undermine climate action. I also really hope that it's just not being used by climate deniers that just want that kind of denialism to penetrate to the African youth, because that is really, really dangerous.
You've been listening to BBC Trending. I'm Marco Silva. I produced and presented this episode. Gareth Jones did the sound mixing. Flora Carmichael was our editor. If you'd like to get in touch about this story, come and find me on my socials. Just look me up on X at BBC Marco Silva. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.